I'm Ashley.
And I'm Jackie.
Welcome back to Dumb Witch Club.
So for this installment of New Sign Who Dis, we are going to be talking about Sagittarius.
Sagittarius.
Sagittarius. Why does that sound good?
Sounds like
Max Medina.
Max Medina. Yes, it does sound like that.
So I hope people get this reference.
I would think they would.
Yeah. We're huge Gilmore Girls fans.
Absolutely.
And I think we have just figured out that Max Medina must be a Sagittarius.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not just because Sagittarius sounds like Max Medina.
Though that does fit really well.
It totally does. But I'm like thinking, oh my gosh, like all these things are flashing through my head right now of like his character and like his progression in the show. And like, ooh, I think that was some definite Sag energy
I can see
happening.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Good heavens.
Ooh. There's other... No, I'm not going to say it because I feel like this could be a thing.
Oh, wait, but just say it.
I was going to say, well, maybe for Jess even.
No, Jess is definitely a Scorpio.
Hot take. That's a hot take.
Definitely.
Yeah,
going full Scorpio energy on that guy.
Wow.
Also, Team Jess, by the way. Let me just say, total Team Jess. So.
Yeah, for sure.
Logan, I don't know. Team Logan.
Oh,
Team
that's
Jess?
true. You're bringing up a lot of really good points, and this was not the topic we were
Nobody's
planning to
Team
discuss.
Dean. Okay, let's get back to that later.
No.
For now, let's talk about Sagittarius.
Let's do it.
Maybe just to start with, we'll kind of say, obviously, we're going in order in this series. So we did Libra, we did Scorpio, we're on to Sagittarius. So we're kind of to the end of November, mid to end of December birth dates, roughly November 21st to December 20th. Mm-hmm. As always, disclaimer, check your time zones, do your chart, do all that good stuff to make sure where you're at. So Sagittarius has mutable fire day energy.
Mm-hmm. I feel like I always say this, and I probably am going to say this for every sign because it's true. Like, I just love how unique each one is with the combination of things. And yes, I know I'm saying it again, but it is a mutable fire sign.
Yeah. Well, see, what do you mean? Say what you mean with that.
Well,
because to me, it makes a lot of sense.
No, it absolutely for sure makes sense, but I guess I just kind of love it. That fire sign, passion and energy and like conviction that fire signs have, right? They know who they are. They're confident about it. But that mutability, I think, is really cool coupled with that, right? Like that willingness to look at all different perspectives and that changeability within that is amazing in a fire sign.
And, I mean, fire dances all around,
right.
And kind of like can be, jumping and changing even while it's being consistent and steady.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, that really matches up with Sagittarius for me.
One of the, so for each sign, there's sort of an image that we've mentioned.
Oh, great.
Like the rainbow for the Libra and the melting icicle for the Scorpio. And for Sagittarius, actually the burning bush, which I think is pretty fascinating. It's obviously bringing in that fire energy, but that burning bush as sort of like an omen or a sign about knowledge. And I feel like Sagittarius energy is so much about kind of wisdom and understanding and kind of seeing sort of the message in the burning bush and kind of deciding, where to take that message. And it's day energy, so it's going to be an active kind of, moving with that decision.
Definitely. And that the essence of the burning bush, that broadcasting of it and outpouring of it and not being afraid to sort of, say that message and broadcast it out. That's amazing. I love that image.
Yeah, I really like it too. I think it encapsulates a lot of what Sagittarius energy is. So the other kind of like sort of traditional representation of Sagittarius is the centaur.
Right.
And that's also a very interesting image symbolically. It's like a combination of, you know, like the half horse, half man.
Right.
And he's also got the bow and arrow. So there's like multiple, you know, some of the other representations are singular, like Leo, for example.
Right.
It's just a lion, you know, but this has, you know, many pieces to it. And I think that also connects back to the mutable energy, that there's sort of a duality or like multiple things kind of combined into that symbolism.
That's really unique and interesting. The arrow is pointed at who?
Oh, yes. So speaking to the actual constellation in the sky, the bow and arrow of the centaur are pointed, or the arrow is pointed at Scorpio.
Interesting.
You're like, new sign, who this?
I don't take offense. It's okay.
Yeah.
It doesn't say it's actually shooting it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, still holding it.
It's holding it and it's pointed.
There's a lot of potential energy there. Though. It's like, just wait.
Definitely.
Yeah, it's funny. I mean, just like constellation-wise, how much stuff is like going on with Scorpio up there. I mean, I know it was one of the kind of the first constellations that was like identified and recognized and stuff, but yeah, there's a lot going on with that.
Interesting. Everyone's like, It's okay, I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I will just mention Sagittarius is my moon sign.
Ah, yes. Yes. What is this? Yeah. How does that sit with you?
I think moon sign. Yeah. I think anytime you talk about
do we need to breathe for a minute? Let's just. Yeah.
Yes.
Deep breaths.
Anytime anybody talks about their moon sign, I'm pretty sure it probably feels that way. It's funny too, because I you know, until I started to get more into astrology and everything, like I probably, you know, somewhat knew my placements and things like that, but I don't think I was really quite that aware that, okay, Sagittarius is my moon sign. And then looking back though, it's interesting, and like I am surrounded by a lot of Sagittariuses. Is it Sagittarians? Sagittarius?
Oh, I like Sagittarians.
I kind of like Sagittarians.
It's better than Sagittarii. I think that sounds really
that's odd.
bad.
Yeah. We're not going to go with that.
Nope. Sagittarians. I like that.
Sagittarians.
Kind of makes it sound like a planet too.
It does.
Like they're like from Sagittarius.
From Sagittarius. I like that. That's actually really cool.
No, that's good. Yes. So you have a lot, or you have been surrounded by a lot of those in your life, right? Yep. That energy. Probably mainly sun signs is what you're talking about.
Mainly sun signs. Yeah.
But still, bringing that Sagittarius energy.
Yeah. Which I, you know, didn't really know until I, you know, sort of started to delve deeper into that. And I'm like, oh, that's why I'm attracted to this energy. I get it now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you feel like you have come to terms with that in terms of your moon?
Well, it's funny that you said, you know, the thing about the centaur pointing the arrow at Scorpio, because I sort of feel like my moon sometimes is doing that to my sun.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh.
You think you're so cool.
Yeah.
Just wait.
Essentially.
Aww.
Yes, I know. But I'm sure you'll help me unpack that further at some other point in time.
Yes. I also feel like, I mean, future discussions about sort of interplay of these different energies and stuff like that. So
definitely. And there's so many directions to go.
Yes.
So many things to discuss. But yeah, that was one thing.
Yeah.
I wanted to note. I'm like, oh. And then when you said that, I was like, oh, yes. That makes a lot of sense.
Astrology is full of those moments.
I know.
Like of reading something or learning something and being like, oh.
Isn't it though? And isn't it also the other way where you're like, no, and then you dig a little bit more and you're like, oh. It starts with no, and then it's oh.
Absolutely. I think that happens all the time. I think that's why people don't like astrology, because they read it and they're like, that's BS. That's not. And I'm like, just take a second. Just think about it.
Yes.
And then they're like, oh.
For themselves. But when it comes to other people, they're like, yep, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. He's such a whatever.
Yes, yeah. Arrow pointed. Yeah, sounds like him. Yeah. Seriously.
But not me.
I don't do that.
Not Kitten. Kitten doesn't do that.
Exactly. Oh, it's great.
Oh, my gosh. Okay, so back to Sagittarius energy.
Yes.
I think, so for me, thinking of Sagittarius as a fire sign, which I've spoken before, like I have, I'm a triple fire sign,
right.
Not a Sagittarius energy, 2 Leos and an Aries. So I feel like Sagittarius is sort of the quietest fire energy. And I don't think I'm saying that because I have the other 2 fire energies and I'm like, blah, blah, you're quiet, whatever. I feel like it has to do with the sort of the placement in the astrological wheel.
Okay.
And if we think about the astrological wheel as sort of from the beginning in Aries, and then traveling around the wheel, starting with birth.
Right.
And each sign sort of gradually representing sort of another phase of life until you get, all the way back around to Pisces, and that kind of being, the end of life, type of energy. And so as we go around, we gain wisdom, and maybe we gain temperance, and we gain understanding. And that's really the energy that Sagittarius has. And interestingly enough, the tarot card associated with Sagittarius is temperance.
Yeah.
So definitely one of those, like maybe Scorpio gets perceived as a fire energy sometimes. I don't think Sagittarius always gets perceived as a fire energy.
That is very valid. That is absolutely true. And again, I feel like I also say this every episode. I did not think about that until you said it.
It's because we're dumb witches.
Exactly. And because I just learned from you, and I obviously thought about it in terms of Scorpio because that's, a stereotype that I know, and being one, I know it. But yeah, with Sagittarius, you're totally right. I don't think that always gets associated with, what people would typically think of with fire energy.
Yeah.
With what you embody, for sure.
Yeah. Well, that's for a later episode too. But
Yes, it is.
But I think where that fire energy really does come through, though, is in this very open-minded, kind of adventurous spirit. I think Sagittarius has that, like, kind of, can be like a wanderlust.
Yes.
Which sometimes is physical travel and, that type of thing. But also, I think you were talking about even just sort of mentally, right?
Absolutely. Every Sagittarius I know, at least, that I know, really does like that physical travel, not even necessarily like all the time or really far, but just really likes to sort of separate themselves or get away a little bit. But also on top of that, yes, it's the mental pursuits, the philosophical pursuits. I feel like they love to engage in new ideas, new paths, new philosophies. They're willing to really go down those things and explore, I guess is like a really good word for it.
Yeah, and I think I seek is like that little phrase that is associated with Sagittarius. And that can be in all forms, like physically, mentally, I think even emotionally. I think, so one thing I've thought of also with Sagittarius energy and kind of that wandering kind of quality, like as wonderful as that can be, I think sometimes Sagittarians can also struggle with feeling like they've found their place in the world, or even with people in their own families. Sometimes they can feel like they're constantly seeking or looking or, trying to find something. And I think that can, I don't know, potentially be sad or even frustrating for them.
Yeah. Speaking of Sagittarians I know and what they've shared, that's absolutely accurate. And even in, romantic partnerships, I feel like that comes up a lot too, of, seeking something and not really quite finding what they think it should be or what's really fulfilling to them. And they're so dynamic as people. So it's a hard, I don't like to think of everything as what sign matches with the other sign. That's not what we're doing or trying to do in any way, shape, or form. But in this sense, like, I just think it is with Sagittarius. Like, that's a dynamic fire sign. That is a hard matchup. For someone to keep up with that, that's a big ask.
Yeah, and especially kind of being so evolved, like kind of in the astrological wheel, like having gained, or, not even gained because that's just who they are, but having that kind of wise kind of quality along with kind of that spirit and the fire and the adventure and all of that. It's like, yeah, it's kind of a lot to contend with. And my dad is actually a Sagittarius rising. And I feel like that competes with some of his other placements in an interesting way. But so I grew up with a lot of kind of Sagittarius energy. And I didn't know that at the time that I was growing up because, you know, I didn't really grow up with a lot of this knowledge. But looking, as soon as I read that or like inputted, you know, his data to get his chart, I was just like, oh, of course that makes sense. Like just not to speak particularly of my dad a lot, but Sagittarians are also like very likable and very like kind of social and
charming, really
very charming and, you know, sort of outspoken and kind of, you know, like to talk about things and connect with people and stuff like that.
Because they know a lot of things. I mean, they're so interested in, you know, that ninth house connection. They're so interested in all of these different things that they can connect with people on a lot of different levels. They'll know. Somebody will bring up a topic and they've read about it. They've watched, you know, YouTube. They've listened to a podcast. Yeah. And they tend to be really dynamic and articulate and, you know, so they're wonderful to have conversations with and they can adapt to people. I can so see that in your dad. That makes a lot of sense actually.
But then sort of, and I know we always like to talk about sort of the skillful and unskillful presentations of each sign. And so we've talked, I feel, a lot about like the skillful ways. So on that sort of unskillful side or that kind of less evolved side, you know, we can always see those energies kind of as they naturally come out of those more skillful, you know, applications. So that sort of, you know, excited or like opinionated, kind of wise, open-minded, that could easily become condescending and sort of dogmatic and kind of like, you know, well, I do know all this stuff and I'm, you know, not really going to listen, even though, you know, they're open-minded in their own way. And sometimes when it comes to you, they might be like, well, yeah, but you're not going to tell me. I learned all this stuff I know already, you know? So I think there's some of that. I think there's also a really interesting streak with Sagittarius energy that is about kind of almost being like careless and like relying too much on luck or kind of believing like, well, I'm just going to go, you know, where things take me and kind of not always taking a lot of control even where they can and sort of just trying to like ride things out because of that like free spirit or whatever.
That's very true too. Yes. And and the sort of reflecting back to what you were talking about before with some of the unskillful things, like the bluntness is a big one that's associated with Sagittarius. Yes. That honest bluntness, which of course has its, you know, positive application, but you know, sometimes can be very harsh and not everybody responds well to that kind of communication. So
yeah, definitely.
That's obviously a tough one for me, and it's interesting because I have that in my moon placement, which I'm not really sure what to make of that, to be honest. I feel like I have to dig deeper, and I'm sure you will help me to figure that part out.
That's a personal conversation. I don't think you want to do that here.
No, that's okay.
Maybe not yet, but
no.
Let's see. What else can we say about Sagittarius that we haven't already said?
They're a blast to hang out with. I will say that.
Yeah, that's true.
They're so much fun. That spontaneity is a lot of fun. I feel like they're always down to try anything. They're really that mutable energy too. Like if you want to do something that's a little bit crazy or out of the box, right? They're so willing. Like you got to wear a costume. You have to knock on the door. It's like a thing. They're like, yes. Like where do I buy it?
What are you doing with people? That's amazing. I want to wear a costume. Are you talking about Halloween?
I mean, I'm not talking about Halloween yet.
Oh, okay.
But
I'm saying wearing a costume, knocking on doors.
Yeah, we're gonna. Yes, we'll talk about that further.
Okay, but maybe you can just do that anytime. That is,
you could just do that anytime, and if you wanted to do it anytime, a Sagittarian would be down.
They would be down to do it with you.
They would. They'd be like, just tell me where to go. Tell me how much it is. I'm fine with it. I'm good with it. Yeah, they're just a lot of fun to hang out with. They make you feel really special.
Oh, that is true. There's a lot of warmth. There's a lot of, and when that warmth is like directed at you, it feels very, very nice.
It does. You're kind of basking in that glow.
Totally. Yes, absolutely. I think that's very true. I think it's maybe possibly now the time to, now I feel like it's like the big reveal. your social media.
Yeah. The little mini series within the mini series.
Yeah, I'm very excited. These are surprises for me. So
yeah, this one occurred to me a little bit more quickly than Scorpio. You are excited. It makes me excited, but then I'm scared. I'm so excited. I'm so scared. Accurate. It's so accurate for this moment.
Jesse Spano over there.
That's amazing. Oh
that
my gosh.
clip is so funny. It's so good. It's like a total meme.
Yeah, it's like it's the birth of memes.
It's literally the meme before memes ever.
It is.
It's the mother of all memes.
It's the mother of all
Jesse
memes.
Spano, mother of all memes.
Wow, Saved by the Bell astrology. That could be a thing.
Oof, we're doing that. We're doing that.
I really want to. I really want to. Okay, we're doing that. Okay, we would have to have like multiple episodes on Zach Morris. Or we'll just not do.
We won't do that. We'll do everybody else.
Yeah, so social media.
All right.
Sagittarius, I feel that Sagittarius is the Twitter.
That seems very spot on.
Mm-hmm. Information to share, bold, out there,
yeah,
fast, to the point,
snappy,
blunt,
just putting it out there.
Because Twitter is a scary place. It's terrifying, but they would face it and have what they wanted to say, and know how to comment on a lot of different things, and yeah, they're the Twitter.
Do you think also that perhaps? Now, maybe I'm getting out of our wheelhouse here, but do you think Twitter fancies itself to be full of, like, wisdom and learnedness?
Like, Twitter has a consciousness?
Well, I'm saying as a collective consciousness.
Okay, I see. As a collective consciousness, yes. Probably.
I think it's...
Probably.
So, it's perfect.
It's perfect.
Hands down.
I'm doing really well with that. Well, maybe.
I think you're doing amazing.
I think I am. I think it's
I love it.
accurate.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you think? Think we're about done talking about Sagittarius energy?
We could go on, but...
Yeah, no, but I think we've said it all, just about, or at least we've said enough. So,
yes, we have.
To conclude this episode of New Sign Who Dis, we want to remind you that we love everyone in all signs, or at least we don't not love you because of your sign.
Dumb Witch Club is written and produced by us, Ashley Sidner
and Jackie Gerard, at the Dumb Witch Clubhouse in Orange County, California.
Produced and edited by Matt Heinemeyer, creative director and culture consultant Violet Turner.
Original music by Ashley Sidner. And look us up on all your favorite social media platforms, including Patreon.
Until next time, stay witchy, friends.
And stay dumb.